If relationships are the real currency in life, if referrals are the lifeblood of business, how do we, the entrepreneurs, the small business owners, compete in this ever-changing, fast-paced world? How do we become more so we can attract more? My name is Curtis Lewsey and I'm your host. Those are the questions, and in this podcast, we will reveal the secrets. Amazing special guest on here today. We have the one and only Mr. Tommy Wyatt, co-author of Appreciation Marketing. What's up, Tommy?
Hey, brother.
Hey, so you have an amazing story. Do you mind just starting off sharing your backstory, and then we'll get into talking about appreciation marketing and then how people can practice more appreciation marketing, gratitude in their life to be able to, in essence, build their business and earn more referrals. So do you mind sharing your story?
Yeah, for sure. You know, my story is even more appropriate probably today than ever before because I used to be a sports writer at a newspaper called the Newtown Bee. I was actually the sports editor. I ran the sports section over there for 10 years. And I started my own business in 1998 and basically at 33 years old, retired from the working world forever. So I haven't had a job or a boss since 1998. But it's interesting with this pandemic that's going on right now and the lockdown. I don't know when you're watching this. Maybe it's over. I hope it is. But I'll tell you this. My newspaper just closed down yesterday. They just put out the newspaper closed down. Yeah. People are all getting, I guess you're laid off or whatever. You go home. They can't go to work. So, here I am, and I'm cozy in my house. Not a whole lot's different, except for that my kids are in the house with me. That's the only thing that's really different. And then I'm driving my dog crazy. But I started. A friend invited me to a network marketing business back in 1998. Never knew what it was. Didn't know much about it, but I was ambitious enough to want to have a better future. And though I never studied business, it was in my mind that I wanted to be an entrepreneur some way, somehow. I just didn't know how yet. And it worked out great. I found a system that was pretty easy, and all I did was do what I was told. I was coachable. I built a big business. It grew all over the world. And here I am 22 years later, sitting in my home office in my dream home talking to you.
That is definitely the short version. And now, Tommy, you and we met when I was 19 or 20, when I was in college. I played baseball over there at Sacred Heart University, right down the street from you. And, I met Tommy at a network marketing meeting, and that was my first kind of open my eyes to the whole word of entrepreneur. It was you that introduced me to this whole world and told me to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and kind of helped change my life. And we became friends, and right out of college, you went to work at Cintas Corporation, the uniform people, and selling really sexy products like toilet paper and air fresheners and soaps. And then my dream was to get out of corporate America. Like, I wanted to get in and learn some skills. And I went to work there because of the book that you told me to read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in that book, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad told him to work for Xerox, not for the money, for the training. And so then a couple short years later, I ended up quitting my job, and Tommy and we partnered up, and, it was amazing. We traveled the world together. We were on stages together. No, he definitely was light years ahead of me on the speaking. And I got up there, was all cotton mouth, but I kind of just rode on his coattails, and he allowed me to do that. And then after traveling around the country and Canada and Australia and stuff, we decided, I want to hear from you, and I have an audience hear from you of the thought process that kind of went into forming and coming up with this idea of launching this book.
Yeah. Well, looking back on it, it's interesting. Life is kind of a journey, and one thing leads to another. Doors open in front of you all the time, and you choose whether to walk through them or not. And, I'm a writer by nature because for 10 years, I was a writer. That's what I did. And, people talk about writing books all the time, and it sounds like a really scary thing to do. Like, oh my gosh, write a book. It's so hard to do. And you know what? If you have a story in your heart, it's not that hard to do, really. It's actually pretty simple to do. I mean, there's a lot of steps to it. And, if it wasn't for you, I never would have taken any of those steps because I'm the lazy guy in the partnership. But, Curtis, you and I joined we started a company, a business together in a company that their whole goal is to send out cards to people. And I never sent cards out to people before. I didn't really, I mean, my mother always tried to teach me to send thank you cards, but I didn't listen to anything my parents said. And I've got, still to this day, I have one aunt in this whole world, Aunt Janice or Aunt Janice, however you pronounce it. And she sends me a card every year on my birthday. I don't send her one. You know, it's like I wasn't a birthday card guy at all. Christmas cards, you know, that's just kind of a floofy thing to do. Everyone does Christmas cards in some way, shape, or form. But when we got involved in this business where the whole MO is to send cards out to people, we started doing it because it's what we did for a living. And when we started to send out cards to people, just cards for no reason, just cards to say, I care about you. It was amazing what happened as a result of that. It was amazing, the relationships that we built out. I mean, I remember, you know, I would just try to find 3 good reasons to send a card every single day, at least 3, sometimes more. And I would send thank you cards to restaurants where I'd eat. You know, I would send thank you cards to people that I did business with that should be thanking me. I'm thanking them, which is backwards, but so what? And then what I found out that happened, which really kind of got the ball rolling for me in my mind, is that every time I'd walk into one of these restaurants or one of these stores, they'd be like, Tommy, hey, how you doing? And they'd come over and hug me and love me. And why? Because I sent them a card and said thank you, and nobody does that. So I realized that, you know, there's a correlation here between the way I'm being treated and the way people, you know, the abundance of love that I'm getting from everywhere. There's a correlation between that and what I did first to make it happen. So I said, shoot, you know what? It's kind of, you know, I remember when we struggled to find a title for this book, we were going to call it Appreciation Nation. And we're like, yeah, that sounds weird. It sounds like a social book or something. And we just knocked it around. And then we came up with appreciation marketing because I'll never forget that we Googled appreciation marketing.
Remember that? That was in 2008.
2008. We Googled appreciation marketing and there were 0 results on Google for appreciation marketing.
You were blown away because I didn't even know what to search. I didn't even know what that like meant when you said that. And you said, go ahead, search appreciation marketing. In 2008,
yeah,
word appreciation and marketing was not in order. Like it was, hey, this company was appreciating their customers and then marketing would be down here. And like, there was nothing together, which was, that kind of blew my mind when you showed me. What's it now?
I'm pulling it up right now. Appreciation. Oops, I spelled it wrong. I should know how to spell it. Appreciation marketing. I'm Googling it right now. There's 171 million results.
Oh my gosh. 171
million from 0. And you know what? We started the party. And then, you know, what's crazy though, and I've thought about it literally ever since we, you know, we became a brand, which, and we own appreciation marketing. It's our trademark. The subtitle, How to Achieve Greatness Through Gratitude. I've always in my mind said that should have been the title because that's what the book is about. It's not a marketing book. It's a personal development book. It's a book on how to be better. It's a book on how to build relationships and have abundance coming to you. You know, it's like being the candle and everybody else is the moth. That's what the book's about. So it's not people that have never read it would look at the title and say, oh, appreciation marketing. Yeah, it's a marketing book. It doesn't apply to me. It applies to everyone.
You know, I was just recently doing a training. I was asked to come on and train a whole bunch of real estate agents. And the guy wanted me to talk about branding, like your brand, right? And like how to brand yourself and stuff. And, you know, the first thing that came up when he was talking was I thought about you, Tommy. And the reason is because, you know, you taught me a long time ago, like you are your own brand. Like, so even though we were a partnership, we each had our own style. We each had our own brand. We came together to write this book, but like talk about this because see, no matter where you go, Tommy, and I know that you're just one of the most charismatic people I've ever met in my life. You go to a party, you've known nobody. And before you know, at the end of the night, everybody's asking you, hey, you want to go out and have a cigar? Here, you need another drink, you know, like telling jokes, stories. I know it's just who you are, but like when it comes to referrals and building a business, talk about that because in the book, I absolutely love it when we talked about, you know, if only I liked you, you know, all things being equal. Do you mind just sharing about that, like being your own brand and attracting business?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I wouldn't recommend that anybody try to brand themselves. I did it one time, like I was at the cattle ranch, and it really hurts. but but, but you know, it's interesting. The way I've always looked at life, the way I look at everything, is that your customers, if you're in business, your customers, they think about things the same way you think about things. They look at things the same way you look at them while you're the consumer. So if you're a consumer, what is it that you're looking for? You know, and you just turn around and be that person. And so, you know, I mean, it's like, as far as likability is concerned, you know, you find people, we like to be around people that are like us, right? I mean, we like to be around people that have the same, you know, the same values as us, you know, the same character as us. And my gosh, I think everybody wants to be happy and positive and upbeat. And when you're happy and when you're a magnetic personality, people want to be around a magnetic personality, even if they don't have one, even if they're not like that, they aspire to be like that. Everybody wants to be magnetic, and anybody can be. It's really, really simple. You know, if you're some total closet case introvert and you're scared of people, whatever, here's what you do first: smile. You know, it's funny, you know, living in the Northeast my whole life, you know, I'm in Connecticut now. I lived in New York State. I never lived in New York City, but it always fascinates me. I'm a people watcher. And when I go to big cities, you know, it's interesting. People don't even want to look at you, let alone smile at you or talk to you. And, you know, it's shocking to me, because I think deep down, everybody's just yearning for somebody to break the ice. My daughter, my little one now is in high school. She's a freshman in high school, and I'll let her out of the car in the morning, and she'll walk right past a kid who's been to our house before, like her friend, and they don't even say hi to each other. And I'm like, why don't you say hi to these people? Well, I don't know. It's like people are afraid to say hi first. They're afraid to smile first. Everybody's protected. Everybody's guarded. Well, you know what? Throw that out the window and just be the one. And if they don't want to smile back, the hell with them. You don't want them in your life anyway.
You know, and other things that you can practice too. Like, I loved it when you're on stage, you'd always share about that likability factor as it pertains to the dentist office, or it pertains to, you mind sharing that a little bit? Because, you know, these are simple little things that people can start practicing, because where it shows up in one part of your life, it's going to show up in the other.
It's true, but you know, it stems from starting with you. You can be likable. For example, here's a great story that just happened. I have an online business community. It's not really a business community. It's an online for fun community. It's called Wing Addicts. It's about chicken wings. Something I like to do in my spare time for no reason.
Guys, go to Facebook and like that. It's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, we're on Facebook, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. It's Wing Addicts for everybody who's a wing addict and who's not, right? So there's a local place in my town, and I'd never heard of it before. It's been there, and I've just never seen it because it's tucked away. And I heard they had wings, so I went there last week to get some wings, and I did. I got some, and I went out in the parking lot right away and ate them in my car, and I made a live video about it because I wanted to try them before I brought them home, because they'll get soggy in there. And so I did it in the parking lot, and you know, it got a lot of fanfare. It blew up. There's a lot of people that watched it and commented on it, and that restaurant got a lot of orders for wings during that week, which I didn't know yet.
Wow.
And I found out that the day before yesterday, because I walked in there. Well, first, let me tell you, I sent them a card also. I sent them a card with a picture of their wings on it and said, "Your wings were amazing. Thank you so much. I'll be sure and tell everybody I know, Tommy, the Wing Addicts." And I went in there day before yesterday, and when I walked in the door, I didn't meet the owner when I was there last week. Didn't meet him. I asked, "Are you the owner?" The guy said, "No, he's not here." And I said, "Okay." So when I walked in the door, and I heard, "Tommy, hey, how you doing, man? Come on over here. I'm so-and-so." He didn't want to shake hands because we're all worried about the virus, right?
Yeah, well, we're recording this right now. We're in the middle of the whole coronavirus thing.
Right, right. And he says, "Hey, thank you so much for that video you did and for that card." And he goes, "I got your order right here, and I got a separate order for you. I got some other flavors I want you to try. The whole thing's on me. You know, it's on the house. Thank you so much. You're awesome, and you know we appreciate you." That's how it happened. And I walked out of there with all these chicken wings that I could never eat them all these different flavors. And now I have a best friend. I've only ever been in there twice, but I guarantee you from now on, when I go back in there, and of course he's going to get another card as a thank you for giving me the wings. And there's just one story of one place where I do business in town. And who wouldn't want to walk into any store or any business and be known by name and greeted with a smile and happiness and friendliness? Whatever you do in your business, you can do that. Just
now in that card that you sent, were you sending that card to try to get something?
Oh no, not at all. Absolutely not.
I think that's part of the trick, without expectation of trying to get something when you're showing appreciation and gratitude.
Well, that's always the trick, because I get cards from people that I can tell they're trying to get something out of me, and it's a turnoff. I just throw it away. It's not, it's funny in marketing, in real world marketing, you see a lot of it in real estate, a ton of it in real estate, but you see it in a lot of other businesses too, where you get these cards from people and you don't know them and they're acting like they know you. And you immediately, that starts the brick wall process right there. Don't talk to me like, I hope your family's doing okay. You don't even know me. You don't even know my family. That's not sincere. Don't say that. If you're sending me a card to do business, say, hey, Tommy, I'm a realtor and I'm calling you to do business here. Don't lie, because I know you're lying. It's okay to market to me. I like being marketed to, but don't lie to me and insult my intelligence. And, it's funny, all these marketing gurus tell you to do all these things, and I believe it's all BS. I don't believe in any of it. I don't think any of it works. And I think anybody who says it works is a liar. They have no clue what they're talking about. They're trying to sell it.
So going back to like being more of a likable person, and like the way you say it, I remember years ago when, you and your wife are both busy and trying to get your daughters into maybe getting a dentist appointment or whatnot. And then all of a sudden, like there's nothing available because it maybe at the end of the year and like everybody's trying to get in before the insurance, and you always get your appointment.
I always get my appointment, and I'll always get a seat in any restaurant I need to get into. I go front of the line. I mean, I'm important for some reason wherever I live.
Now, you think that whether somebody's an insurance agent or somebody sells travel or whatever it is that they do in their life, being more of a magnetic person, at the end of the day, everybody remembers you. Share a few different little things that you do other than sending cards, because obviously sending cards is so different, and obviously we have a card company, so we talk about that. However, there's a lot of different ways to become more of just a likable person. What are some of the other things that you do to make sure that people remember you?
Well, first of all, I'm friendly wherever I go. I'm friendly, and I introduce myself to people. If I start a conversation with you in the line at Starbucks, I'm going to say, oh, my name's Tommy, and I'll put my hand out. So people are scared to do that. I don't know why. I mean, probably
because of coronavirus, people are scared.
Well, now it's a little different. Now you put out your elbow. Hey, I'm Tommy.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Put out your elbow pound. Yeah. But I mean, just be polite and be outgoing and just, be friendly to people, for God's sake. It's really not hard to be friendly to people. When you're likable, people like you. I mean, it's just the way that goes.
Politicians?
That's what they're trying to do. They actually have hundreds, if not thousands of people working for them, advising them on what they should say when they go to speak at ... because the people there will relate to this. The people here, it's called pandering. They do it for disingenuous purposes. And you know what? You can see it when it's not genuine. And those are the people that lose. So yeah, it's just about being real. Be your real, authentic self, but be a person that's worth knowing. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're likable, you do get everything. You get.
Who is it that wrote that book? Is it the Likability Factor? Tim Sanders, was it?
Yeah, from Yahoo. He wrote a book called The Likability Factor, and the whole book is pretty much about that too. It's a little harder to get through. He uses bigger words than we did.
Yeah. So we'll shift gears a little. We just talked about, because chapter 3 of our book is If Only I Liked You. All things being equal, people do business with people that they like, people that they trust, and of course they remember. And we talk a lot about in the book making sure that people know that you care. And so, Tommy, I don't think that that's probably one of the biggest things that you do is, you know, people know that you care. You sent that card to them. No, do you think anybody's ever sent them a card thanking them for their wings, especially with the picture of the wings on it?
Never before. You know what? Not only that, I mean, you asked me about different things I do.
Yeah.
You know, here's just something that I do every single morning when I get up and I log into my computer. I spend a little bit of time on Facebook every day. Actually, my whole current business is almost all entirely built on Facebook. And the first thing I do is I check whose birthday it is. And you know what? I've got 5,000 Facebook friends because that's all they give you. You can't have any more than that. So there's 5,000 people in there. Now think about 5,000 divided by 12. That's how many birthdays a month I see. Divide that by 30. That's how many birthdays a day I see. Some days it's 10. Some days it's between 15 and 20. But I just send them each. I don't put it on their wall like everybody else does. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be different than everybody else. So I just send them a private message that means something. It doesn't, you know, it sounds like a big deal and a lot to do, but it doesn't take that long. It takes, you know, I don't know, 15 minutes. You know, how big of a deal is that? And, you know, I've got people that I can't remember, maybe people that I met 10 years ago and that I never talked to, but when I go and wish them a happy birthday, I look back and look at that. All I have, my only messaging with them is 10 years of saying happy birthday and them saying thank you.
And you know what's also important about that too, and I know a lot of people do that too, and there's some people reaching out saying happy birthday and then trying to get something, you know, they're trying to start a conversation or to get something in return. Also, I heard one time, and I've been practicing this a lot too, is that like you see the birthdays that are coming up tomorrow and maybe reach out to them today and just say, you know, your birthday's coming up tomorrow. I want to get in the front of the line and wish you a happy birthday. I'm sorry you're going to be swamped tomorrow. So doing that little stuff to like stand out from other people. And also the good thing about Facebook, what you're just saying, is algorithms. Like when you do that stuff and you're connecting, I think Facebook looks at that as good and they show more of your posts. So if your business is, you know, you want people to see different stuff that you're doing online, that's probably an awesome strategy.
No doubt. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, the old what you give out is what you get back. I mean, that's what life is all about. It's you know, if you're a person who's a giver, you're going to receive. But you need to be a giver first with no intention of getting anything back. I look back to when, you know, you and I got started sending greeting cards. And I mean, we still send Christmas cards every year. But, you know, on my birthday, I used to get like 1 or 2 birthday cards in the mail from relatives. And once we got going and started sending cards to everybody all the time and started to put out all this appreciation into the universe and into the cosmos, there was times where I was getting 400 birthday cards. 400. Like my mailman would come down my driveway. I've got a long driveway, and he'd have a truck with a box with birthday cards in it. And you're just sitting there opening them. It takes you all day just to open the cards. And so I started doing it after my birthday because I don't want to spend my whole birthday opening greeting cards. But what's interesting is after Curtis and I left that company and before Curtis started AM Cards, I stopped doing it. I stopped doing it. And guess what? The cards I received went all the way back down to 2. So wow. You get what you give. You do it, you'll get it. You don't do it, you won't get it.
Huh, that's crazy. Now, let's shift gears and talk about chapter 2 for a second, because actually there was people that wanted us to make that the whole the title of the book. You should have said thank you. Take us through that.
Yeah, well, I mean, saying thank you is the easiest thing in the world to do. And so many people don't do it. It's like, I don't know if you ever worked in retail before, but one of my 25 jobs I had before I was 23, I worked as a deli clerk in the Grand Union grocery store. And it used to make me angry. I'd hate people if they wouldn't say thank you for the, like, give me a pound of boiled ham, pal. And you get it and you put it up there and he just takes it and walks away. You know, that guy's immediately a jerk. He's labeled for life. He had 0 likability. When I see him coming, I go take a bathroom break, you know. I see him coming up the aisle towards the deli, I'm out of here. So, you know, bad manners will put you at the end of the line. And saying thank you, first of all, it's just good manners. You know, we're so impressed by a little kid who says thank you. You know, a little kid with manners impresses you every time, and you're not only impressed with the kid, you're also impressed with the parents. So, you know, saying thank you, it should be done way more than it is, and I think people should say thank you for anything they can find a reason to say thank you for. You know, we wrote this book in 2009 is when we published it, right? That was 11
Yes.
years ago. And now all of a sudden, gratitude is en vogue. You know, we started talking about this before anybody else was talking about it. Gratitude, they've discovered since we wrote the book, is one of the major components to happiness. Mm-hmm. So saying thank you to people makes you happier. It makes you better. So gratitude, just expressing gratitude to people in the form of thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for the thank you card. You know, thank you for, you know, the great meal. You know, thank you for, you know, being a shining light in our community. You know, thank you for what you said on Facebook the other day. You know, thank you for holding the door. Thank you for letting me out in traffic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for spending 26 years as my wife. You know, say thank you for everything and let them know that it's genuine, real appreciation. And that just leads to your likability.
You know, we say a lot of times, you know, you generate a lead by what you do for a living, what you do. However, you earn referrals by who you are and how you're showing up in people's lives. And when you're showing up as somebody that's appreciative and somebody that really, truly does care, that really does make you go to the top of the list. And it really goes from like the realtor to my realtor, or the plumber to my plumber.
That's exactly right. And you know what? You say that, and you know, you talked about insurance before. My insurance guy is my insurance guy. We're friends now because of mutual likability and gratitude back and forth. I could get cheaper insurance right now, easy, if I shop it, but I'm not gonna. I'm staying with him because he's my guy. And you know, I mean, that's what it all comes down to.
You mind sharing the story with everybody that of, you know, the wedding story?
I will, and that kind of leads me into what I would also say. You know, maybe you're not the kind of person who wants to say thank you, thank you, thank you, and you're not doing it really to get something out of somebody. Maybe you saying thank you to somebody just flows right off their back and it doesn't mean anything to them at all. That's not what's important. What's important is how people think about you when you don't say thank you, how people feel about you when they think, when they perceive that you are not grateful, that you are not appreciative. That's when it's over for you. In relationships, you know, in marriages, in business, in everything. If you're not appreciating somebody for something that they feel, even if they don't deserve it, if they think they deserve it, and you're not going to give them that appreciation, you're out. So why not just be appreciative for everything? So yeah, the wedding story is, you know, when we were younger, we used to go to weddings a lot. Now, sadly, it's wakes and funerals as we get older and the time goes by. But we used to go to weddings all the time. And, you know, you're supposed to give a wedding gift. And it's like, what are you supposed to give? You know, you could buy something on the registry, but I've always liked to give cash because I remember my wedding and I remember how much I loved it when I opened an envelope and a bunch of cash fell out. I thought that was cool. You know, back then when you're young, you're getting started, you're broke, and there's cash falling out of your wedding envelopes. That was awesome. And I specifically remember one person who went way over the top, gave me way too much. I should say gave us way too much. It was only half mine. And I still remember that feeling. As I'm explaining the story to you, I'm getting good feelings for that person. And I haven't seen him in 20-something years. I haven't seen him. But I have good feelings toward him. And I'll tell you right now, if he came by, I'd run up and grab him and give him a big hug. I'd hire him for business. He's actually a paver, and I need to do my driveway. At least he was. I haven't seen him in 20-something years. So anyway, the story, I digress. We were getting ready to go to a certain wedding, and I want to give cash because of that great feeling I get. And my wife, who is the practical one in our family, wants to write a check. And I say, no, you know, a check is impersonal. I want to give cash. And we'd have an argument about it. And she'd say, you know, someone's going to steal it. Someone's going to steal it if you give cash. And I said, no one's going to steal it. They don't steal presents from a wedding. And by the way, apparently they do. I guess if there's an envelope basket, like where you put it in the basket, people do come by and steal them. I've actually heard stories where it's been done. But anyway, I was belligerent about it. And we went to a certain wedding and we gave cash. And we gave more than is protocol, like twice the amount that is protocol. And we weren't even really that close friends with these people. But I mean, I guess we've always kind of been that way even before. But in any event, the wedding came and the wedding went, and we did not get a thank you from them. And, you know, the more days that went by, and I'd bring it up, what, did we get a thank you today from them? And she'd say, no, I told you, somebody stole it. And she might be right. I don't, to this day, know if somebody stole it, because you can't call them up and say, hey, you know what? I wanted to check in. I gave you some cash for a wedding gift, and I wanted to see if you got it, because I hope nobody stole it. I mean, that would sound weird, wouldn't it? So we never did, and we never got a thank you. And I get to lose that argument for eternity, because she was right. If it was a check, they would have had to cash it, and then we would know they got it, right? So here's what's interesting. Either we're sitting here thinking they're cheapskates and they don't say thank you and they're not appreciative, or they're sitting there saying that we're cheapskates and we didn't even give them a gift. But either way, we're never going to know, because they're divorced now anyhow, and we don't know.
Oh, jeez. Well, let's play that out for just a second, just for the purposes of the point of the story. Let's say that you weren't sure, and then you happen to bump into them at a barbecue or something like that, and you happen to bring it up, and you said, hey, I just want to double check, because we put cash in the envelope and we just wanted to make sure that, you got it. And they happen to say, oh my gosh, Tommy, Michelle, thank you so much. How would that make you feel?
It would solve the problem.
Got it, but
no matter how many years later it was, that would fix everything. That would make me feel okay. That would make me say, oh, they were grateful.
At the same respect, though, would you think like they were ungrateful because they never actually were proactive and said thank you to you?
I wouldn't. What would happen in my mind would be they're irresponsible and they never sent thank you cards. But the response I just got from them that they are grateful would make me say, okay, it's not too late to say thank you, is what I'm trying to get at.
Now, let's play it out a little bit further and see what your thoughts are maybe with Michelle. If Michelle was then invited to the baby shower, and it's on her to get the gift, and do you think that she would be more likely or less likely to go above and beyond and do something extra special, nice for them, knowing that they weren't proactive in reaching out and showing appreciation and gratitude?
We'd give them a box of dog crap.
Well,
I'm just kidding. We'd still give them a gift, but we would not go over. There's no question about it. We would not go over the top. We'd get them what's on their registry and something small or whatever.
And that goes on in alignment with like behavior rewarded is behavior repeated. Now, let's say that the wedding was on a Saturday. They're going on a honeymoon on Monday. And on Sunday, they're opening up all their gifts. And they happen to call you and Michelle and say, oh my gosh, like just having you at our wedding was a gift enough. And the card that you wrote was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Your presence at our wedding was a gift. And then the cash that you guys put in there, that was just really over the top. You really didn't have to. However, we appreciate it so much and love you guys.
That would be absolutely amazing, and it would cement them as awesome people, and I'd always have good feelings. And they'd be right that our being at the wedding was definitely gift enough.
And then now Michelle gets invited to the baby shower a year later. Do you think she's remembering that phone call?
Yeah, for sure. And you would naturally go over the top again, naturally.
Okay. So like if you're going to kind of tie that back in and say, as it pertains to somebody giving you, or you're sending somebody a referral, whether they do business with that person or not, share what your thoughts are. Like if that person wants to get more referrals from you.
So are you talking about like
let's say that let's go with this. The guy that we talk about in the book, that's your next door neighbor that you've sent how many people to go buy cars from?
Yeah, my neighbor was a sales manager at a car dealership, and I personally bought one car from him, and I sent at least 5 or 6 people there who bought cars from him, and he never said thank you to me ever. And for some crazy reason, I still kept doing it. Actually, I know what the reason was. I mean, I wanted to have a good relationship with my neighbor, and it just felt like the right thing to do. But it's kind of a bad blood thing. I don't like the guy. I've never invited him to my house ever. I've lived next door.
Here's an even better story. What about the neighbor across the street that was a realtor? What did he do? After you moved in? And going trick-or-treating?
Oh my gosh. Oh, they were the coolest people in the neighborhood. I had little girls and I would take my girls trick-or-treating, and my guy, his name was Tim McConnell. God rest his soul. He lived across the street and he was a big realtor in town. You know, the people, you see their name on most of the signs, you know, they're the big shots, you know, and we'd go trick-or-treating and I'd have my little daughter dressed up as Minnie Mouse or whatever. And he'd come to the door and he'd hand me a scotch in a paper cup. He'd say, "Trick or treat, Tommy." He'd hand me a scotch. So that was always the first house we went to. And then I'd go home and change into a different costume and go back again, over and over.
This time you're Darth Vader going over to another scotch. No, he also threw parties, right?
Parties all the time. And again, it's just a matter of standing out and being, you know, how do people think of you when they think of you? Do they think of you as somebody who's not grateful and doesn't care? Do they think about you as somebody who drives by and never waves? Do they think of you as somebody who never smiles? Or is it the opposite? They think of you as somebody who's awesome and is going out of their way and is interesting. You know, it's like one of my favorite quotes is, "Be interesting. You'll never know who might be interested." And you know, it's a great way to go through life.
I love that. I mean, I remember you saying like that you thought it was so crazy how this guy would throw big parties and invite all kinds of people. The whole town seemed to be there. And it was like, you know, he's not even asking for the business. He's just being that likable person that people like, they show up and next thing you know, they're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about my house." "Oh, really?" Or "My aunt needs to sell her house." "Oh, really?" You know,
when stuff like that happens, look, I know 1,000 realtors, but, and they moved away and he passed away. But if he was still living there and I needed a realtor, I would not even think about calling anyone else I know. I would automatically go to him. Why? Just because he's awesome. He's my kind of guy.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that whole, you know, you should have said thank you. You have like this famous part that says, but not saying thank you does.
It's 10 times worse than saying thank you is good for you.
So
saying thank you is good, but not saying thank you is 10 times worse than saying thank you is good. So that just means, yeah, you know, it's great if you say thank you. It's you know what? First of all, it's expected most of the time for you to say thank you. But not saying thank you, it's going to cut you. It's going to put you the back of the line for everything. If you're labeled ungrateful, you lose in everything.
That's good. Let's jump into talking about this too, because I love our creatures that, you know, we go diving into: the sucker, the puker, the topper, the whiner, the peacock, the vulture, Mr. Halitosis and gingivitis, Tinkerbell, and the Facebook ass clown. Let's just talk about a couple of these, a couple of the biggest ones. You know, dive in and talk about the sucker if you don't mind.
Sure, the sucker. And, you know, that starts off with one of my favorite poker aphorisms. If you're a poker player and they say that if you can't locate the sucker at the table, if you can't identify who the sucker is at the table in the first 10 minutes, it's you. but that's not the kind of sucker we talk about in that chapter, the deadly creatures. We talk about the energy sucker. The energy sucker, the person who sucks all the energy out of the room. You know, there's an old quote, I think it was Zig Ziglar, who said that guy could brighten up a room just by leaving. There's people, you don't want to be that person. You know, we say that, you know, it's easy if you get with me on this right now. We can all think of somebody who, when we think of them, we have good feelings. You know, when we think of them, it's always like in a good way. If they call us, we always answer the phone. Those are the people that are energy givers. Those are the people that are magnetic. Those are the people we are attracted towards, and hopefully they'll be attracted towards us if we're energy givers also. But, you know, the opposite is, you know, that person when your phone rings, and you're going to laugh, when that phone rings, you don't even have to see their face. You can just see their phone number. And you're like, ugh. Like somebody calls you and you look and you go, "Oh, geez, they're calling me again." And you never answer that call. You always let it go to voicemail and you never call them back unless you like have to. And then you just do it whenever you can stand it. The most important thing in appreciation marketing is to make sure you're not that person. Because what would it be like for your business if every time you called somebody, they went, ah, geez, yeah, again. That's the opposite of what you want. You want people to like crawl over broken glass to answer the phone when you're calling. And you can achieve that. You can definitely achieve that.
That's so good. So that the sucker, kind of take inventory of your energy. Like there's always people in our lives, like you said, like that we would answer the phone no matter what. Like just by looking at it, their phone, you immediately feel good. But also think about this, is that when somebody else's phone rings and they see your name on it, what energy are you giving off on a regular basis, and how would that affect your business?
That's exactly right. You want people excited when you call. You want them to want to hear from you. You brighten their day.
So talk about that for a second. How do you do that? What are some of the things? Because I know that's a lot of what's in this book is becoming more of a better version of yourself in retrospect to attract more to you. So what are some of the things that you do? Like, obviously you sent that card to the wings place. I mean, they're all talking about you.
You go over and above. It's all the stuff we've been talking about this whole time. I call it throwing on your A game at all times. Have on your A game. And if you don't know what your A game is, just think back. If you're in a relationship right now, maybe you're married or have a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, think back to when you first met that person. You brought your A game because you wanted to close that deal. And I don't want to make it sound that way, but come on, think about it. I think back, I met my wife back in, and back then, I could get free for lunch any day if she called, anytime. I could meet her anywhere. I would do what you want to go to the opera, honey? Yeah, let's go to the opera. I remember I could lay on my bed at 2:00 in the morning and talk on the phone with my eyes closed and my head on the pillow and not fall asleep. But what happens is over time, after we close the deal, and I'm saying this because I want you to make the analogy of your business and getting a new customer or closing some type of a business deal, after a while, your A game starts to slip. I joke around and say, I didn't break wind for the first 5 years when I met my wife. But then all of a sudden, what happens, right? Everything becomes okay. Now all of a sudden everything's different. And, it happens on both sides. Your A game slips and you don't carry it on. You kind of slip back into who you really are. So you know what? Try to change who you really are. But, they say you can't change people. You can sure change yourself and just be a person that throws the A game all the time. I think Tiger Woods came up with that. Gotta love Tiger. He actually stole my logo, TW. That was mine first.
And I remember at a seminar one time, you're like, if you don't take care of your customers, somebody else will. And then and everybody heard that before, it's a saying that's been around for a long time. And then you followed up with it. Hey, and if you don't take care of your wife, you don't appreciate your wife, somebody else will. And the people are like, whoa, it's like what happens in, we work so hard to be able to get that customer, get them. And then all of a sudden we're off chasing that new piece of business, when actuality, and when you take care of that person at a high level and retain that person for repeat business, but more importantly, it's tapping into their network to earn referrals. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the things that, we talk about a lot, is because, putting on that A game, keeping the A game, and then understanding as you scale and as you grow, sometimes it's harder to give that same level of attention. Well, there's always ways that you can do different things. And whether it's, calling them from time to time, maybe you don't give them the same amount of time. You're still taking care of the business, still taking care of all of their needs, but then more importantly, making them look like a rock star when somebody when they send more business your way.
Absolutely. Listen, we've said this in front of audiences all over the world, and sometimes it draws a little bit of argument, but it's a fact. Most places that are reliant upon new business, new customers, the people who are salespeople, they spend 99% of their time probably trying to attract new business, because new business butters their bread, at least in their mind. All right. What we try to teach people is, you know what? Flip-flop it around and spend 99% of your time taking care of existing and old business, and spend 1% of the time trying to get, maybe not one, maybe 90 and 10, you know, or 80 and 20, but spend more of your time focused on the deals you've already closed and building the relationships with those people, because it's those people who are going to stay with you, number one, which you need to have happen, but B, they're the ones that are going to refer all their friends to you if they love you. If you're a one and done kind of person, if you sign them up or, you know, you get them as a customer and then that's it, they're never going to recommend you ever. Why would they? They don't care.
And, you know, when I was at Cintas, it's good because, see, I was a cold calling maniac. That's what I had to do. I was a hunter. I had to go get the business. I was knocking on every door and every store and every floor. And now when everything shifted for me was that when I realized the importance of taking care of people that have potential to take care of you, and also getting to know people for who they are, not just what they do. So like the driver that was in my territory that serviced my accounts, I didn't really know who he was. I didn't know he was a father of 3. He was married. He liked to go fishing on the weekends, and that he also was training for a sprint triathlon. And how I learned about all of that was from another sales rep that got all the referrals from that driver, and it was my territory. I was like, you son of a, like, I was so mad, but then after I understood it, I said, like an epiphany, like the light bulb went on, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, so when I got to know people for who they are, not just what they do as being a driver, I got a chance to educate them what was possible and what was a great referral for me. And when that started happening, I started getting more referrals. I was cold calling less, to the point where I had a whole army of people that were pretty much working for me. And that's how we came up with this little thank you note, is because I put the thank you note on a meatball sub and put it in his locker after a referral one day. And he appreciated that so much that he was always looking for opportunities to be able to send business my way. So, I mean, it was like one of you just said in the beginning, like, I understand somebody's like, well, I can't spend 99% of my time on, because I don't really have a book of business. Well, at some point you're going to graduate. And if you look at the top producers of any profession, whether it's in financial advising, whether it's insurance or whatever it is, somebody's not in the business 5 or 10 years successful and is out there hammering the phones and cold calling. It's just not happening. Because why? Because they built it up. They've done all that already. Now they're hiring other people to do that. And they're focusing on the relationships at the higher level, like what you just said. They're focusing on the people that are taking care of them, and they're getting more referrals, and they're building their business through their existing book.
Absolutely. And
so that's powerful.
I just think what you want to do, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this interview right now and you're not experiencing these good feelings as we're talking, then you're not paying attention, because you can really feel it. Your whole physiology changes when you hear this kind of stuff, because it makes sense and you do relate to it, because it does happen to you every single day. The moral of the story is be the glass half full person. But always look at the bright side. And I always say in training, when I train people and when we talk in front of people, we have 100% control over only one thing in this whole world. One thing. And that's what we think. So we can look at something and think it sucks, or we can look at something and say it's great. And you know what? You're right either way, but it's your choice. Be the happy person, because when you're one of those people who just walks around and whines and complains about stuff, people do not want to be around you. They say that if you're somebody who whines and complains, tells all your problems to other people, 80% of them don't even care, and the other 20% are happy for you.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. I mean, I think we could be talking here for hours, and I think that we covered, a few of the highlights of the book for sure. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share, that you would like to talk about? Obviously right now you're actively marketing a coffee that does amazing things. And what are some of the things that you're doing for your coffee business to grow it? I mean, you have thousands and thousands of customers. They came to you and wanted to help you expand, help them expand around the country, around the globe. And I take the product every day. I absolutely love it. And what are some of the things that you're doing to help, specifically using appreciation and gratitude marketing, to build your team, build your sales force?
Sure, great question. But, for starters, it's really interesting that in life we gravitate towards the things that are more congruent with who we are. And like out of the clear blue sky, a couple of years ago, I got started with this company marketing this coffee, but it's not just coffee. It's called Happy Coffee. Hello, figure, right? And one of the people who's a spokesperson for our company is named Sean Acor, and he is probably the world's most renowned experts on happiness. He's written a bunch of books on happiness, which are phenomenal. And oh, by the way, what does he say is one of the main things that will allow you to achieve happiness? Gratitude, expressing gratitude, taking time to sit down and journal all the good things that happen to you each day, all the stuff we've been teaching in appreciation marketing for 11 years. So, I'm marketing a coffee now that when you drink it, it has the chemicals inside of it that light up the happy hormones in your brain and makes you happy. So my product is happiness. And what do? I send cards to people along those lines, like I always have. Thank you for trying it out. Thank you for becoming a customer. Your business is everything to me. But I'd love to hear your stories and your success stories. If you have a great thing that happened, maybe you lost some weight on it or whatever, or you got off depression medication or whatever might have happened to you. Not that, we diagnose it for anything, but I want to hear those things. And I try to keep in touch with those people once a month, at least. Just send them, what does it cost me to send a card? $1.50. What's a lifetime customer worth to me? A lot more than $1.50. $1.50 over 12 months comes out to be what? $20. So, is it worth $20 for me to have a customer for life? Yeah, heck yeah. So I do that. I send samples to them, and again, it's mostly just a thank you. I appreciate you.
Now, and I know you do a really good job, and I know because of you is how I train this in all different types of professions. When speaking is really, celebrating life events. Like, you're the one that taught me this. Like, you download pictures on Facebook and make a card and send it to them and highlight it. And then next thing you know, they are just flipping out excited. Now, I'm not going to actually wrap up right now, because there's something else I want to talk to you about, because you're amazing at this. Not only going to get your customers, going to get new business, referral business, repeat business, all that kind of stuff. What about the people that are on here listening right now that want to retain their own employees, is also recruit more people, talent, recruit leaders to come to them? What are some of the things? Because you're always recruiting new talent to work with and to grow with your sales team. And then on top of that, you want to retain the people that you have. What are some of the things that you do?
Absolutely. Well, you know what? It's no secret, really. All the best companies in the world do it. Google is famous for doing it. They make their people feel appreciated. Their people love to go to work. They wouldn't want to go anywhere else. And so, you should always tell your people, how many times, think about this, again, I haven't had a job in a long time, but I can remember on one hand, the number of times in 10 years that somebody came up to me and told me I was doing a great job at work. And people, this is not like that in the real world. People don't, I don't know why, but people just don't do that much. So when you do that, you're different again, and you set the bar really high. People want to be there. And then, you know what? Why do you attract other people? Because they talk. The people who are happy and who are experiencing all these good things, they talk. And other people want to come and be a part of that as well. That is one of the main reasons why Google is the company that it is. Apple is the company that it is, because people want to work there. There's a feeling of goodness attached to working there. And you can make it that way with you.
So let's say somebody that you're recruiting just happens to have their first grandbaby. And you put it on a card and you say, like, Adeline Grace, 7 pounds, 2 ounces, and you send that out off. Wherever the current situation that they're in right now, like, when they receive that card, think about the energy on that receiving end. First of all, that card's going to make it into a baby book, a picture frame, something. They'll never throw it away. And then just reaching out and showing that you care is like huge. And in recruiting is a process. It's not just an event, like boom, it happens. recruiting takes time, and that's where that, like Harvey McKay's book, Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. That's one of the things that he talks about too, is that it's a process, and like you've done things that leading up to it. So when that event does happen, there's a whole string of events that you can probably call on prior.
No, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. I mean, everything is a process in life. And this is what I heard from you. Life is about the people that you meet and the relationships that you build. Relationships are the most important currency in your life. It's not even debatable. That's what the most important thing about going to Harvard or to Yale is, not what you learned there. It's who you met there.
Yeah.
And that's really any college, any spot that you're in, meet people and have them think fondly of you. And how can you do it? Easy. It's easy to do. Just be the kind of person that people like.
And read this book, because it's going to help.
Read that book twice.
Twice. 2 times. Go
and listen to it. It's even better over Audible.
Yeah, exactly. You speed it up too and get through it. Anything else any closing thoughts you want to leave with everybody that you would like to share?
No, I mean, the ultimate moral to the story is be the kind of person that you like to be around. Just like that. Because other people think just like you think. They like the same things you like, and they dislike the same things that you dislike. So you have the choice. Be one of the good guys or girls.
And if anybody wants to reach out to you or follow you or anything, how would you recommend that people connect with you? Via social media? What would you like?
Yeah, I'm on social media. I'm mostly on Facebook. I do have a humongous LinkedIn group too, but I never log into it. I don't know why. It's just too stiff for me, I think. Or I'm just too lazy to learn how to get around the corner. But I'm on Facebook. You can reach me on Facebook. That's easy. Or you know what? Shoot, if you have a personal question, send me an email. I check email nonstop. My email address is easy to remember. TommyAlwaysWins@gmail.
Tommy always wins at Gmail. Love that. So Tommy Wyatt, Wyatt. It's obviously on the front cover of the book as well. Reach out to him, follow him. You guys, well, if you guys definitely want to, it's hilarious. Oh God, so funny. I mean, talk about that post you just did with Winston, your dog. That was the funniest thing I've seen in so long. Like, you might just
going viral. My dog's going viral right now. And social, I've been on social media probably for about 10 years. I've never gone viral before, ever. I'm the funniest guy I know. I'm the most clever guy. I put all these awesome posts up all the time. And, maybe I'll get 100 likes on a great day. But my dog, you went up yesterday and he's still growing. My dog went viral. My stinking 2-year-old dog. Hold on, let me pull it up and see if I can find it here, because I can't remember exactly what I wrote. But I put a picture of, his name is Winston Churchill.
Share your screen real quick.
Oh, can you do that?
You can do it, right? And the bottom.
Hold on.
Can you share it to yourself?
Yeah.
Just show it real quick. This is just something very, very clever, but it just kind of shows who Tommy is.
Okay, so here's my Facebook page. Up here, and here's my dog going viral today. It says, "We're devastated, free to a good home," and there's Winston Churchill Wyatt right there, and it says, "Looking to rehome my humans. They're now here 24/7, and I can't catch a wink of sleep without constant fondling. I'm going for walks multiple times a day, and I've had to curtail my squirrel and critter stalking at the window. They're stinking up the house with bleach and get all crazy when I bark at the UPS man. I don't want to do this, but I see no other choice." And Winston, look, he has 176 likes, 29 comments. That's about normal. Look, he has over 1,200 shares. So people are just like sharing this with everybody, people we don't even know. And you know what's crazy? This isn't a marketing ploy for me. I'm not trying to get anything out of this. I don't have my name on it. I don't have any like watermark on there. Like, it doesn't say go to my website. If it did, by the way, no one would share it. It would be counterproductive. So it's when you're trying to get things, it's chocolate covered dog crap. You'll have to read chapter 5 to find out more about that. But that is what that is. And
that is hilarious. That tells you a lot about who Tommy is. I saw that. I just dying laughing. And by the way, I just checked it like not too long ago. It was 766 shares. So that is legitimately going viral. Oh my gosh, hilarious. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to go over all this kind of stuff. I love to have people hearing more from you. So we're going to have to get you back on here again at some point soon. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother.
Right back at you, my man. Anytime at all.
Hey there, it's Curtis again. If you have not downloaded the 7 most powerful referral secrets, hop on over to referralsecrets.com. It's free. That's simply referralsecrets.com. Also, we give away prizes every week to our subscribers. So make sure you click the subscribe button. Thank you again for listening to another episode of Referral Secrets.